Hi, um,
Hello,
Hello.
we meet again.
we meet again. Yes, for the next topic, which
Yes.
is nuclear. So, you guys, when you hear about nuclear, or when people say about nuclear, what do you think? Do you have what do you feel positive with it, or you feel it as negative, or the connotation itself? Is it neutral, positive, or negative to you?
That
Negative
depends.
for me.
For me, everything has their own flaws, and everything has their own pros and cons. Like for example, the pros maybe chemistry and physics. Yeah, they're related to nuclear, and the cons perhaps using it for World War stuff.
Mm-hmm. The negative, right? World War.
Yeah, World War issues that involves nuclear power, nuclear weapons, uranium, plutonium,
Mm-mm.
iridium.
Alpha, how is it? How's your
I
reaction?
am, well, I'm not as optimistic as Ariff with his science studies. To me, all I could think about is war. We've seen it happen before with the ending of World War II and how Hiroshima and Nagasaki was bombed with a nuclear power. We see again it's an issue around sometime last year, I believe, where two countries with heavy nuclear power, North Korea and also United States, was having a talk about releasing their nuclear power last year, and the start of the Third World War was about to happen. So when it comes to nuclear power, I'm all about like negativity, and people keep on preaching about we want to achieve peace, but you can't achieve peace when you start it with a war, and we've
Yeah.
seen it happen countless of times, and yet we are still preaching the idea while we've seen it happen before. Yes, to me, the perception, the connotation is always negative.
Negative. So I
Exactly.
bet all of us, our reactions when we hear to nuclear, the connotations really give negative, right, reactions.
Yeah. For
So,
now,
uh, to think about what are the things we should consider, okay, whether to encourage this nuclear power to be developed in any country, I mean, not only Malaysia or to any other countries as well. So we need to consider so many things. Don't you agree?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah,
100% agree.
yep. So what are the things we can come into? I mean, what is the consideration we need to take in order for us to let government or to let our countries or other countries then to develop the nuclear power. Do you have anything to say, Arif?
Mm, I'm sorry, could you repeat the question again?
Okay, for me, I think we need to take into consideration on this issue, nuclear. I think that to develop nuclear at our country, for example, Malaysia, we need to see the other possible ways, okay, to replicate or to not to use nuclear power. I mean, uh, not only nuclear power, but we can also have any other possible sources,
Alternatives.
okay, energy sources. For
Yeah.
example, we
Solar,
can use solar power. Okay, solar
yeah.
power productivity is really good
Wind
compared to
power, hydro.
nuclear power, because of why? Nuclear power, it has
It's
its own
non-renewable.
usage. Okay.
Yeah.
um most of it, many people see that nuclear power is really useful to provide or to generate electricity, but
Yeah.
but uh but to provide or to generate electricity is not the major parts. Okay. um Energy use in our daily life, we consume 86%, okay, for oil and gas, but sorry, yes, and 40% the nuclear power. is used to generate the electricity. So looking at these facts, it is only a small portion of it. Okay, so the nuclear power is not the major used for electricity. So why must we um, develop nuclear power? Because we have other possible ways to do that. Okay, back to solar power, for example. So one of the ways we can replace the nuclear power is by using solar power. So solar power, then we use the it is environmental
Uh,
friendly since we just use the sun heat. Okay, there will be no significant waste compared to the nuclear power. Okay, other than solar power, what we can use
hydro,
Hydro.
yes,
hydropower,
tidal power, wind
or
power.
perhaps wind power, yeah,
Yes.
and
So Arif, do you
biomass, if
have
I'm not
anything?
mistaken.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you
what
believe that we can do?
I believe that building, having nuclear power in such country, or perhaps in this case, maybe perhaps building a nuclear plant is very risky because first and foremost, if we take a closer look and a short look back in our science subject, nuclear power is categorized as non-renewable energy. So someday it will run out,
Yep.
and to generate such power through the process making of nuclear, it requires a lot of I would say like material involvement just to generate that much power by nuclear power plant, and it also affects uh, the the lifestyle of us humans and also the environment as well. Because as you can see, a lot of things that when we take a look at on a larger scale, sometimes nuclear power doesn't really contribute like you mentioned just now doesn't really contribute a lot to the country. Like we see lots of countries there are more advanced than us. Like say for example Singapore. I believe that Singapore is a small country, one of the smallest country, and it's so advanced. I believe it doesn't even have nuclear. But why must other countries who declare themselves very advanced and whatnot needs to have nuclear power when I believe it is just a fact that they are competing between one another, such as, for example, in the US, they have nuclear power, and also in North Korea, they also have nuclear power. So again, both of them are just competing, like who is like more superior. Like yeah, it's a symbol of superiority nowadays in the world. And when I say about affecting the environment around us, let's take a look at some housing development around a nuclear power plant. Of course, at first when they first develop the plant, it will be like it will be a normal day because nuclear it won't affect us. It will generate us energy and whatnot. But there are a lot of cons about nuclear power. It could perhaps affect the living things such as the plant life around us. Maybe, for example, maybe on the first day of the opening of the nuclear plant, your lawn is still green and is still alive as well. But maybe after a week, it will all be wilted, yeah, due to the fact of the chemical processes and chemical combustion that's been produced by the nuclear power plant. So there's uh, a lot more negative effects when it comes to nuclear power plant.
By the way, I have one reason
Hmm?
why you think why you are wondering just now, right? Why the other countries um, they like to show their superior, why they want to develop the nuclear
Yeah.
power without no reasons. No, actually they have reason, I think, just because
Ah,
of they know that this nuclear power is actually can be useful for another thing. Okay, like what? Like
that's
they
so.
can make nuclear weapon.
Yes.
Like USA. So you know what? Nuclear weapon is really dangerous.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
for nuclear weapon, it is actually it can affect
Wipe out.
to half of the Earth, and it can kill a lots of population by shot. Hmm. So for example, the
Create nuclear
Nagasaki,
winter.
yeah, Nagasaki was bombed by atomic weapon. So there were lots of victims, and we already know about this news, right? Nagasaki being bombed by the, so this one, I think, is another reason for the country then to develop um, nuclear this what at their country, you know.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
also like to add to both Anna's point and also uh, Ariff's point, because we've seen it before. They just want to show their superiority and also what they have and what other countries don't have. As Anna mentioned before, nuclear power can literally wipe out half the face of the earth. And I mean, this is why colonizers colonize because they want to show their superiority to the countries that they colonize, right? They want to show that they are above someone else. So it's basically almost the same thing. And with my friend, he mentioned how Singapore have basically he mentioned how Singapore and their clean energy. We have seen it we have seen proof that a country can rely 100% on renewable energy. For example, Norway. Norway declared their country as 100% renewable. And I think that is impressive because if one country can do it, then that means the rest could follow in their steps as well. It is not impossible. It just takes a little bit more planning and then a little bit more money and people, but we can make it happen, definitely.
Mm-mm. Yeah, you got the point then, Alpha. Anything else then you want to add, Arif?
So far, that will be all.
I think I would like to add more examples to the alternative power just now, other than nuclear power, other than solar power or tidal. We can always use biomass, okay, to apply or to supply electricity. Biomass also good, okay, where we can use only we can use our food waste, okay, so to provide to process the biomass. So in the process, this waste is very useful to heat the generator, and then it can create the electricity. So compared to the nuclear power that can cause too many environmental problems and are harmful just now, so another alternative energy source is really recommended. So it depends on the country which actually this alternative power that they can implement. If like in Malaysia, for example, I think biomass is one of the ways I think can be okay implemented, because we have many food waste produced by the citizen days by days. So
Yes.
why not then we generate this biomass?
Yes, and I believe that this is not about biomass, but about solar power. If
Uh-huh.
I'm not mistaken, when I was doing my research to make my university more greener, I saw actually a bank loan from our national bank and how, because solar power is very expensive. So the banks will actually loan you some money for you to make solar power. And I feel like that's a good incentive and a good um, step for the public and for in my case university to actually look into, if you want to produce clean power, then that's one way to go. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And oh, I just remember one thing about the terrorist attack happened to many countries. So you know what? These terrorists, they are using the waste comes from the nuclear power. Don't you know that? So another bad things
Did
about
not know
nuclear.
that.
Yeah, so another bad things about nuclear power then. So the terrorist attacks, they always make use of this waste comes from the nuclear power then to make their weapons. So again and again, when so I don't think that our connotations, our negative reactions to the nuclear just now is a false one. So because we can provide so many reasons, so many examples then to show that nuclear power itself is not really helpful to the countries, isn't it? So we have come to the
Definitely.
conclusion. Mm, so basically, nuclear power is not good, and we have to consider so many things before we allow it to be developed in our country or in worldwide. Okay. All right. Do you have
Exactly.
anything else to add, guys? Nah.
No, I'm all good.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I'm all good as well.
All right. So thank you for the discussion again.
Yeah,
So
you're welcome
bye.
anytime.
Not
All
a
right.
problem.
Till next time.